Today, we are diving into one of Thailand's most misunderstood landscapes, Thung Kula Hai. Now, that name literally means the plain where the Kula people weep. For generations, that name alone has painted this picture of a totally desolate, barren land. But we're about to uncover the incredible story that's been hiding just beneath its cracked soil all along.
So let's get right into it. The popular image, the one everyone knows, is of this harsh, unforgiving place. But is that the whole story? Not even close. We're going to challenge that idea by looking at what's really going on beneath the surface of this massive plain in northeastern Thailand.
You know, for centuries, the name itself has basically written the script, Thung Kula Hai. It just conjures these images of suffering, of a land so tough that even the most seasoned travelers would be brought to tears.
So the legend goes that the Kula, who were these famously tough merchants, actually wept while trying to cross this enormous plain. Why? Because there was no water and the journey was just brutal. And the landscape seemed to prove it. You've got these salt crusts glittering on the cracked earth, making you think, yeah, nothing could possibly live here.
Okay, but this is where the story takes a massive, dramatic turn. Recent archaeological finds have completely flipped the script on this region's history, revealing a super sophisticated and wealthy civilization.
And the scale of what they found is just staggering. I mean, we're not talking about a couple of artifacts here and there. Archaeologists have dug up over 400 prehistoric sites scattered all across this supposedly empty plain. This wasn't a wasteland, it was a happening place, a center of ancient life.
And just look at this timeline. It shows you exactly how deep these roots go. We're not talking about some quick, temporary settlement. People first set up shop here 4,000 years ago, and that led to this amazing, distinct culture that thrived for over 1,000 years before the Khmer Empire ever showed up.
And if you want a perfect example of how unique their culture was, check out their burial practices. Archaeologists found these incredible vessels, totally unlike anything else in the area. What they do is place the deceased, whether it was an infant, a child, or an adult, inside one of these huge jars and then seal it with another one, creating this capsule. It's such a powerful symbol of what they believed about life and death.
So the big question is, right? How on earth did this civilization thrive in a place that was supposedly so difficult? Well, it turns out the secret to their success was literally right under their feet.
You see, this whole region is sitting on top of massive underground salt domes, which are leftovers from an ancient sea. So what looked like a curse, all that salt on the ground, was actually an incredible source of wealth. Back in the ancient world, salt was like gold. It was currency, it was medicine, and it was how you preserved your food.
These people didn't just get by, they built a full-blown industrial society. They mastered making salt, they developed advanced iron smelting to create tools and weapons, and they engineered the land itself to grow high-quality rice. These three things, salt, iron, and rice, were the pillars that made them a real regional powerhouse.
And their methods were incredibly smart. For thousands of years, they used this amazing process where they'd scrape the salty soil off the top, filter it through a wooden trough to make this super concentrated brine, and then they'd boil that down to get pure salt crystals. This wasn't primitive stuff. This was a highly refined industrial process passed down through generations.
Seriously, just let that number sink in for a second. 500 kilometers of canals, all dug by hand. This huge network wasn't just for water and crops. It connected their communities, it controlled floodwaters, and it completely reshaped the landscape to support a massive population. They weren't just living in their environment, they were engineering it.
But, this ancient way of life, something that had lasted for millennia, was about to hit a wall. Hard. It was facing a sudden and really dramatic turning point.
So, picture this. For thousands of years, life had a rhythm. The dry season came, and that meant it was time for salt production. It was the heart of their economy. But then, in 1981, a new, modern irrigation project came in. The goal was to provide water for farming all year round, which sounds good, right? But it had this huge, unintended side effect. It flooded their natural salt pans, and just like that, an ancient industry was wiped out.
And this quote from a local village headman, wow, it just says it all. The speed of the change was just breathtaking. It wasn't some slow decline. It was like a light switch being flipped off. The entire economic foundation of their community just vanished, and so many people were forced to leave home to go find work in the big cities.
But this is not a sad story. No, the story of Thung Kula doesn't end there. It's actually a story of incredible resilience. And out of all that disruption, a whole new vision for the future is growing, right in a community called Bu Pan Khan. With help from academics like Dr. Kang and their own community leaders, they embrace this amazing philosophy they call exploding from within. The idea is simple but powerful. Instead of waiting for solutions to come from the outside, they decided to look inward, to rediscover their own ancient wisdom, use their own unique resources, and empower their own people to build a new way forward. And their approach is so smart because it's holistic. They're blending the old with the new. They're bringing back ancestral knowledge about things like herbs and crafts, but they're also teaching their kids about modern environmental ideas. They truly believe that wellness comes from the community itself, and they're taking these big global ideas about sustainability and making them work right there on a local level. Their whole vision is guided by this really cool, simple rule for green living called the 330-300 rule. It starts with the number 3. The idea is that from any window or door in your house, you should be able to look out and see at least 3 trees. Simple, right? But powerful.
Next up is 30. The goal here is to make sure that the entire community area has at least 30% green space. That means a tree canopy that cools the air, supports wildlife, and just makes everyone feel better.
And the final piece of the puzzle is 300. This is all about access. Every single resident should be able to walk to a public park or a green area within 300 meters of their home. It's about making nature a real, tangible part of everyday life for everyone. And has it worked? Oh, you better believe it. They've built this new, incredibly diverse economy from the ground up. They're running eco-tours and homestays, they're growing organic herbs for traditional medicine, and they've totally revitalized the ancient art of hand-woven silk, making these beautiful products you can't find anywhere else.
So what's the big takeaway here? The story of the Weeping Plain, it was never the whole story. Thung Kula isn't a land defined by hardship. It's a land defined by the incredible ingenuity and resilience of its people, both in its amazing ancient past and in its vibrant present. You know, the story of Thung Kula is such a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest treasures are hidden right in front of us, maybe mistaken for wastelands. It kind of leaves you with a question, doesn't it? What valuable knowledge, what forgotten histories are lying just beneath the surface in our own communities, just waiting for us to rediscover them?